And welcome back to another pipe story brought to you by Pipes and Picking. I'm sorry I'm a little bit weak in the voice. I just got back from band practice and 4 hours of playing blues and screaming and hollering. A little puny today, but so I came out here and smoked my pipe, and decided I'd make another video. Keep on with the Churchwarden series. Today I have got my first Churchwarden, and Mr. Brog, or Brog, I think it's Brog actually, number 114 Constance, Churchwarden, rustication. Really pretty pipe. Little brass ring on that. Got kind of a military tenon kind of thing. It's not a perfect stem, not a perfect tenon in there, like before. It was sort of like a military, like a Peterson, like an army mount. And I've got one of my own blends in here. This was just a random experiment I call Threat Level Midnight. And if you're familiar with the show Office, that's where I got that name. But it's basically all the black colored tobaccos that I've got. I wanted to be a little tricky on it, and have the spicy and sweet and everything else in there. So it's Black Stove, Dark Fired, Black Stove Virginia, Dark Fired, Perique, Cavendish. No, there's no Dark Fire in it. Sorry, it's just Perique, Cavendish, Black Stove Virginia. I may have put a little Dark Fire in that. I'm tasting Dark Fire in my journals in the house. I apologize for that. But anyway, I call it Threat Level Midnight. It's got a bunch of different. It's just a bunch of different tobacco in it. It was just sort of an experiment, just to see what a all black tobacco blend would taste like, just playing around. One thing I learned this week that in my blending is, finally, after about 6 weeks, my Black Stove Virginia blends are finally starting to come around. I was about to throw them all out because I just couldn't get the Black Stove to do right. And typically I let them fully blend up or age for about 3 weeks before I smoke them. But these Black Stoves just go a little longer, and they're finally starting to mellow out after about 6, 7, almost 8 weeks. Coming back around to them. So if you are at home blending and you do some Black Stove Virginias, they start tasting funny or very strong, almost kind of a savory, sweet, incensey pear, like a pear. If it's just way overpowering, let it keep sitting on it. Keep sitting on it. It'll mature out, and the other tobaccos will come up. Yeah, that's just something I learned this week. But this is the first Churchwarden I broke down and bought. I think Pipes and Cigars, where I got them, or I may have gone to the Brog site. But anyway, I got a deal on them. I didn't pay much for it. But as I was talking about, I wanted to try the Churchwarden, and I got one. And it's a really small, put this tamper next to it. As you see, it's really kind of a smaller bowl than what you think. And it's real small on the inside, not much room. But that's all right. Not everything has got to be, the big, gigantic, Gigante La Rocca. I mean, this is a good, quick pipe, good smoke. You don't want it to get too hot, your smoke to get too hot. If you want a Churchwarden, but you don't want to waste all day on it, it's a good little pipe for it. I like this. And now that I'm starting to get back into my Churchwardens, I like this pipe. I initially didn't, but it's starting to come back around to me a little bit. So anyway, I got this. What I really like about this pipe is when I got it, my son is 8 years old, and when I got this pipe, this was the first pipe that he really got into. Now, my son's 8. I'm not having him smoke pipes. He's not smoking them, but he enjoys the collecting. He enjoys my collection. He enjoys showing it off to his friends who don't give a crap about it. But hey, look at my dad's pipe collection. What? I don't care. So he likes showing them off, and he loves Churchwardens. He thinks they're really cool, and he got really excited about this. And I got this pipe about the time I was really getting into pipes. And it was clear it wasn't going to be a passing fad, and kind of embracing that pipe culture. This was the first pipe that, you know, I didn't get an eye roll from the kids like, those pipes stink, Daddy. He got into it. He really thought it was cool. And I don't know, like, it just got me thinking as I was thinking about this video, and, you know, I knew I was going to talk about him and these pipes and this pipe, and it got me to thinking, you know, about the next generation of pipe smokers and things like that. And I know to some of y'all, I'll say more seasoned individuals, I won't say older, but more seasoned individuals and more seasoned pipe smokers. You know, I'm probably in the next generation. That's fine, man. I'm cool with that. But, you know, at some point, you know, I'm going to, you know, the next generation, you know, there is a next generation below me. And I know the stuff we leave behind is nowhere near as important as the memories or the lessons and the intangible things that we leave behind to our kids and to that next generation. But you know, a lot of times those memories are anchored with the things we leave behind. You know, my granddaddy's deer rifle, my uncle's guitar, those things, you know, that are going to be important to me and are important to me. And you know, it's really cool to think about my son, you know, remembering having these memories with his old man out in the yard, kicking a soccer ball around or just talking, and you know, he telling his son about his daddy smoking a pipe, or telling his grandson about his dad used to smoke a pipe, and things like that. And he has my pipes. And how many of us that I hear, and this wasn't my experience, but you know, how many pipe smokers do we hear talk about they got started from their granddaddy, and you know, they had their granddaddy's pipe. And I thought about the other day, my father-in-law, we were over in Chattanooga to see my father-in-law, and he's a cigar guy. And I was I was outside smoking my pipe, and he was smoking a cigar. We were just shooting the bull, and he went in, and he was like, I used to smoke a pipe. I was like, oh, cool, you know, what'd you have? What kind of stuff did you like? And he's like, well, I think I can find them. And he had his pipe kit, and he had he only had about 4 or 5 pipes, which is really all you truly need. Now, I know better, and I have more, but you know, you're only reading about 4 or 5, and there were some you know, some grocery store department store kind of, or drugstore kind of pipes, but there was one that his father-in-law had. So this is my father-in-law, my wife's maternal grandfather, my father-in-law's father-in-law, gave him a really pretty blue ceramic with meerschaum lined Masonic pipe, really pretty deep blue with the inlaid gold Mason symbol on there. And because they were Masons together, and gorgeous pipe, man. We sat around and talked about his father-in-law, and he was a great guy, and talked about him and some really cool memories. And then we had I found a pipe, and I'd never heard of the pipe before, and I researched it on my phone while I was there. And it's an Italian-made, I forget the name, but it was an Italian-made pipe. And it was only distributed one place in the U.S., and it happened to be, and there's got to be a cool story about this, and it happened to be in this one, like, general goods store in some backwater town, and I'm from a backwater town, I don't mean any judgment by that, but some backwater town in West Virginia, not far from where he grew up. And when I read this, he said, oh yeah, I remember going to that store. I had to buy something. I remember this pipe when he was an engineer with GE, and he says, yeah, I had to go through there, and that was my factory pipe. I took it into the factory, and he had the little pipe carrier that he put on his belt, and that was the pipe I used in the factory when I happened to be up in that part of the world, working in the factory there, working on the nuclear generators, and we were talking about that and stuff, and it got me to thinking that, you know, all these pipes, we put so much of our time into them, we put so much of our energy into them, and then, you know, we look back at these old pipes, you know, even estate pipes, or, you know, we think about the pipe smokers before, or our grandfather's pipes, and things like that. And at some point, these pipes that we have are going to be somebody's grandparents, grandfathers, or grandmother's pipe. You know, we're going to be somebody's grandparent if we're not already. These pipes are going to be handed down, and the memories that are anchored to that, I know the memories are more important than the actual pipes, I get, but they're going to be anchored to that pipe. And if, you know, my son picks up a pipe when he's of legal age, if my son picks up a pipe, you know, he's going to have a collection here that he can remember his old man with, and he can talk to his kid about, and you know, pass that on. And I just think that's really cool. And this pipe makes me think of that, because this is the first pipe that my son really got interested in, and, you know, wanted to hold. I wouldn't even let it put him in his mouth. I didn't want him to get, I didn't want him to even go there. It's not a toy, you know, it's a pipe, it's Daddy's pipe. But I wanted him to hold it and get familiar with it. And this is a Churchwarden, this is a poker, this is a billiard. Daddy likes these, that kind of thing. It's a good blend. But it got me to thinking about it. You know, I think it's really, it's important. So sometimes a man likes to smoke a pipe in peace, but at the same, you know, in the privacy of his own thoughts. But yeah. As we have that time, as we sit around and think about things, think about your legacy that you leave. There's one of my favorite songs, a song called Proud Souls by a guy in Texas named Jason Boland. And the line is, I believe in ghosts and democracy, and that each man should leave us his legacy, be that man's worth great or be it small. And, you know, I'm just thinking about those kind of things, and want to put that out there as you're smoking your pipe today, or whenever you're watching this. You know, think about the good that you're going to leave to your kids, to those behind. You know, even the estate pipes that you sell or end up in somebody's hands, someone's going to sit around and be cleaning it and thinking about the individual that smoked the pipe first. You know, got me to be thinking about that, passing on that next generation of pipe smokers, passing on the hobby. So that's today's deep thought. My voice is starting to crack and get a little sore, so I'm going to cut it off. So anyway, y'all keep on piping, y'all keep on picking, and we'll see y'all later. Take care.